Let's talk about Springtrap and Dead by Daylight. Hello everyone, my name is Gambit and welcome to Infamous Energy. I'm not sure if anyone else has noticed recently, but there's been a lot of discourse in the Dead by Daylight community recently over the idea of a Five Nights at Freddy's chapter, especially when it comes to the teasers to the new killer. I wanted to take the time to delve deeper into the character known as Springtrap to see if he would actually fit well into the entity's realm. The most important thing to start with is the question, who or what actually is Springtrap? Well, Springtrap under the suit is actually a man named William Afton. Without going too deep into the lore, what we understand is that William Afton was the co-founder of the companies that own the animatronics we actually see in the games. He would abuse his knowledge of the ins and outs of the buildings and his suit to lure kids away, eventually murdering them, often stuffing their corpses into the suits of the animatronics there. He manages to get away with this a couple of times until we learn more in the third game. Said game actually also explains the suit he wears. To put it simply, Afton wears what is known as a spring-lock suit. These suits are meant to be able to function both as a wearable costume and a working animatronic through mechanical parts called spring locks. When fastened, the spring locks can be latched down on the inside of the suit to allow an employee to wear it. This design though is actually quite flawed. Its existence actually helped lead to the creation of Springtrap. The spring lock mechanics were highly unsafe. Even a bit of moisture could cause the locks to snap back into place, causing potential maiming, extreme blood loss, and death to whomever inside. All you needed was a bit of heavy breathing, or hell, even a rainy day, and the spring locks would pop right back into place. The suits were later recalled, but not before Afton suffered the effects. Five Nights at Freddy's core is essentially about the spirits of the children after murder, them wanting to rest and get revenge essentially on the man that killed them. They eventually got their chance when these spirits cornered Afton, causing him to panic and jump into what he had previously known as safe. But due to the conditions of the room and his sudden panic, the spring locks let loose, maiming Afton in the process and leaving him for dead. Over the years, the suit began to decay away, leading to what we currently know as Springtrap. Looking into the lore, there's actually a solid reasoning for Springtrap coming into the fog. When he returns, he immediately tries to come for us, the player, without hesitation. And when he returns, what was once known as William Afton is now essentially just a rotted corpse and a bunch of walking parts. Amongst our current roster in Dead by Daylight, I actually think he'd be pretty unique. I mean, we've definitely had more unconventional characters before. So overall, I think the character would fit pretty well as far as horror standard goes. But that still begs the question, what would he actually do in the game? After watching a lot of fan-made ideas and concepts and videos from other content creators, I've actually managed to come up with a decent idea for how he would work in game. I quickly wanted to add that most of this is from a content creator known as Ghosty Boy. He and his fan base actually took the time to come up with a couple different concepts on how Springtrap would actually work in game. They were very good videos and I would definitely recommend go checking him out. To start off, I don't really think he'd be a chase-oriented killer, but more so having multiple powers, kind of like the Pig or the Doctor's Madness. I think his first power would definitely have to be the ability to see through cameras. Not only would this stay pretty loyal to the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, but also stay true to the character Afton as well. In a later installment, you can actually see the set of cameras Afton debatably used. How I see this working is kind of similar to how Jigsaw boxes or Freddy's clock spawn. Have a couple of different monitors around the map that Springtrap can observe. Afton would definitely want us as survivors to suffer just as he did. So for his second power, what I propose is something similar to Pyramid Head. You can have a couple of spring-lock suits actually sitting on the map, and when he picks you up, he can carry you to the closest one and stuff you as the survivor inside. I actually think the animations for this would be pretty unique, and from the survivor's point of view, you would get an entirely new perspective. I would see the survivors actually needing to wind up the springs from the inside to prevent the suit from collapsing in on themselves. It would pretty much function the exact same way as Pyramid Head's cages, but with an extremely unique animation when the survivor dies. The last idea I had was actually more directly from Springtrap's entrance game. In the third game, you as the player have to deal with a couple of different things, including Springtrap himself. Primarily what I mean are known as the Phantom animatronics. They're called Phantoms because they're simply hallucinations, so they can't hurt you. Essentially what they do is cause errors to your essential functions in the game. I see them working in Dead by Daylight almost as a type of status effect. My thought was Springtrap can mark you through the cameras, causing one to target you, giving you a different debuff, and when marked by Springtrap, the survivor would immediately experience the jump scare of whatever phantom they're affected by. I would see each animatronic actually having their own specific debuff. I think that the animatronic you would be affected by would be completely random, but let's say Springtrap marks you and you begin to experience the effects of the puppet. I could see this slowing down generator progress for a certain amount of time for your character. For a couple of other examples, let's say you're affected by the animatronic known as Phantom Balloon Boy. In Five Nights at Freddy's 3, you actually use Balloon Boy's laugh to lure away Springtrap. So to kind of work in that red herring sort of sense, I would see the survivor affected actually experiencing the killer's terror radius whenever Balloon Boy is affecting them. And just one more example to get the idea, let's say you're affected by the Foxy animatronic and then you're exhausted for a certain amount of time. And one thing I think would actually be really cool is if they kind of worked like these statues in game. I think after experiencing the jump scare, they would kind of follow you around. Essentially, if you stared at one, it would stand completely still. But if you turned around and ran away from it, then turned around once more to face it again, I could see it being in a completely different position, staring at you once more. Overall, I could see these abilities being pretty weird to balance, but I could definitely see them being really cool in game if they manage to be done well. The final question for me is, does Five Nights at Freddy's actually deserve a spot in the Hall of Fame of Horror? Or basically, is it actually popular enough? I can say that over this past week especially, the demand is actually pretty clear. Between the hype for these teases, fan-made concepts and videos, and the franchise's ability to stay relevant after so many years, still with new releases on the way, I would say Five Nights at Freddy's has a spot in the Hall of Fame of Horror. And trust me, after experiencing it a bit, that franchise definitely has a couple of horrifying moments. Overall, the idea for a Five Nights at Freddy's chapter seems pretty realistic to me. But one thing I wanted to say quickly is that not everyone has the exact same wants for this game, and some people love different franchises. I've seen a lot of people hating on the idea for a Hellraiser chapter or a FNAF chapter, which I don't think should be welcome in the community. Especially when chances are a lot of people hating maybe haven't entirely experienced the franchise enough to have a proper say on it. Just try to be respectful of other people. And for people who really wanted Springtrap in the game, know that it's okay to be vocal about it, but just don't go overboard in the DBD socials. Just trust that the devs hear you. So once again, my name is Gambit, thank you for watching Infamous Synergy, and see you next time.